Henry Crafty. The patriarch of the Crafty clan seems more morose than usual. The effect is particularly pronounced because of his massive size and worn granite exterior. He looks like a mountain that has collapsed under its own weight. You return to us again, STKC. Everything alright, Henry? It's nothing. I just haven't been sleeping very well. Bad dreams? As a matter of fact, yes, and to call them bad dreams would be putting it mildly. I don't remember much and I'm thankful for that, but what I do remember, there was a woman's voice, possibly Ermine's, telling me that I'm not wanted or needed. She urged me to leave by whatever means necessary. I think she wanted me to kill myself. And my boys were there too, only they were young again. But they didn't talk, they just snapped at me, trying to bite me. And their teeth, they had far too many teeth, rows upon rows of them like shark teeth. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my whole life. Is everything alright with Cullen and Freddy? I don't know. Every time I try to be a father to them, I feel more and more like I'm anything but. I suppose it's because they're not my little boys anymore, they're grown men now. Wish it weren't the case. They were so much easier to handle and maybe easier to love back when they were just boys, when their dreams were just silly nonsense, but all the more endearing because of it. Now as men, their ambitions frighten me. I worry, but I haven't the first clue on what to do about it. I talk to them, but I don't think Callum respects me anymore, and Freddy is in his own little world. Can you believe he's convinced I was a pirate? Henry lets out a sad laugh and just shakes his head. Did you ever have any run-ins with pirates? Back in my day, there weren't many true pirates in the waters around here. The bigger ships were too well defended, and the smaller ones were mostly not worth the effort. But as time went on, more and more money poured into Hong Kong. That money attracted more sophisticated criminals. Rigged vessels, some of them formerly military, firepower, electronic warfare, trained men. I was mostly lucky. Wuxing was careful with its ships. They gave a lot of ships escorts in and out of port, in the stretches where the pirates were most likely to strike. Anytime we had big assets in tow, they'd send an escort or an air squadron to cover us. We had some light guns on the tugboat, and that was enough. Pirates saw us for what we were, a trouble magnet with nothing worth stealing. There was only one incident, but we won't be talking about that. There are things I don't want my wife and boys to know about this world. Or me. Alright, I'll leave you be. It's like the family doesn't talk to each other at all. He was a tugboat captain? He wasn't a pirate? He worked for Wuxing, sure. And he kind of doesn't understand why his mother doesn't like the corporation. Like this, I mean, this family is so dysfunctional. Ermi Crafty cleans and oils the disassembled parts of a half-dozen assault rifles spread across a nearby workbench. Her focus borders on obsessive, like a person rubbing her hands raw from excessive washing. I knew it, I just knew it. Everything alright, Ermi? She looked startled by the interruption, as if her words were not meant for other ears. Oh, nothing. It's nothing. Doesn't seem like nothing. She pauses in her work, staring at her hands a moment before finally turning her eyes upward. It's about Cullum, and the man he has been in contact with. I know who he is now, and it's not right. Alright, who is he? Someone I once worked with at Baihu, a superior. He was a powerful man then, and that was over 20 years ago. He has grown even more powerful since, I have no doubt. If he isn't running the Hong Kong branch by now, it won't be long before he is. If that's what he wants. Oh, if that's what he wants. And this is a man who gets what he wants. If he wants Cullum, I think I'm gonna lose my son. She returns to her work, clearly trying to lose herself in it. I mean, what do you mean lose your son? What's gonna happen to him? Is Cullum alright? For the moment, yes, but I don't know how I can possibly keep him safe. I can't tell him why, but I have to make him understand that he cannot see this person ever. Well, why can't you tell him why? How are you going to convince him if you don't tell him? Why don't you talk to your son? But the closer I try to hold on to him, the quicker my boy seems to slip away. I fear I am driving him straight into the arms of this man. Whatever happens after, it will be my fault, all my fault. These people are so pathetic. They don't talk to each other. They're the same family and they don't know anything about each other. None of them know anything about each other. She returns to her work clearly trying to lose herself in it. Alright, and we can't talk to them either. They're a family, but they don't know anything about each other. Frederick thinks his father's a pirate, and he's not. God, awful. These people are awful. Awful and pathetic. How hard is it to just talk? Spider Shen. The area behind Shen's table is even more cluttered than usual. Many of the glass cages have been pulled out of their neatly arranged stacks, lying about the floor of the boat like miniature reptilian landmines. Shen is busy checking each cage, marking the contents on a comlink. Be with you in a second, just seeing if an order is complete. Ball python check, Asian keelback check, Mexican vine snake check, Indian egg-eating snakes there too, good. Looks like everything's here. Shen nods in satisfaction, placing the comlink down on the table in front of you. Right then, what can I do for you? I thought you didn't sell your animals. I don't, especially not the venomous ones, but this is different. I'm brokering a deal between a reptile wholesaler and a friend of mine who needs a lot of snakes for his next trid production. Snakes for trid production. Shen plants a foot atop one cage, smiling broadly. You ever heard of a man by the name of Dr. Shen Yang? Sure, I even did some work for him. Shen blinks, obviously surprised by this news. Well, how about that? I knew that dirty little dwarf got around, but I didn't think he'd hire freelancers to handle something I could. You must be familiar with what a weird little bastard he is then. So these snakes are for his next Trid movie. I think he's calling it Martian Snake Witches of the Fourth Reich. What? It's some terrible science fiction movie about time-traveling wizards from the future. Shrugging, Shen throws both hands into the air. God knows where he gets the funding for these ideas. They sure don't sell for crap. Alright, no wonder he's such a bad director. This one time he wanted to make a Trid show starring me, White Ming, and the rest of our crew. It was going to be about daily life in a triad, but he wanted to make it a sitcom. I don't really know what's so comedic about extortion, racketeering and assault, but that's his strange little brain for you. Alright, then that's why he's never gonna be successful. Alright, it's the same stuff. That's not useful for us. Passive. This is all chi casting. We can't do any of this without chi casting. I'm just thinking, like, why did they make some of the spells require intelligence? Maybe it's because mages are overpowered. It's possible that mages are overpowered, and then they nerf mages by putting more requirements on their more powerful spells. Oh, there's nothing over there, right? Oh, Aljernon! You've arrived! Better late than never, Aljernon. Mysterious elf. Ah, good to see you again, Aljernon. Anyway, Crafty Zoo. A heavy scent buffets your senses, the scent of pure, unadulterated book. Woody, musky, dusty, The light herbal incense from before seems like an afterthought in the wake of paper smell. Looking around, you see that the shopkeeper has abandoned her earlier feeble attempts at organizing the text. Several of the towers of books are now reduced to piles on the ground. A piece of paper, caught somehow in a ceiling rafter, rustles gently above you. Crafty, you in? You hear a shuffling of papers. An arm rolls out from under a pile of blankets and books, and Crafty raises her head, a notebook spread open on top of it. The book topples to the floor. Oh, hey, her voice cracks. Crafty clears her throat with a cough and stumbles out of the pile. Her voice is clear when she speaks again. Sorry about the mess. I was up all night reading, or rather up every night reading. She stretches. You look damn tired. Feeling alright? Crafty lets out a single sharp laugh. I've been better, if that's what you mean. Going through these notebooks has been hard, not just because of the sheer amount of information. It's been a nostalgic ride too. Ooh. If these journals are kicking your ass, you can always stop. Your health comes first. No way. I've dug myself too deep to back out now, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I've made progress. I'm proud of that. She leans on the book-covered chair. The sooner I figure out these dreams, the sooner I can rest, and trust me, SAKC, I'll make up for it in spades and naps. If that's your plan, remember to pace yourself. You won't get anything done if you become sick. You make a good point. I appreciate the advice, but don't worry, it's not a total slog. These journals are just as exciting as they are laborious. So what's the latest? The latest! She walks over to a glass table and starts tossing books off of it. As she digs through them, you realize the table is not actually a table, but a glass display case full of dried medicinal ingredients. Crafty withdraws a notebook from the pile, its binding unraveling, the pages holding on for dear life. Here we go, this one's loaded. Alright. With what? Got a couple of big finds. Mum's notes are a mess, so I boiled them down to the most important information. An exorcism and the Yama Kings. Where do you want to start? Oh, the Yama Kings are real. Tell me about the exorcism. She flips through the notebook and after locating the right page, she lays the book on the counter. Her index finger glides across the notes as she summarizes its contents. On one of Mum's trips to the walled city, she decided to check out an archway, an old crumbling relic that residents believe to be haunted. Mum wasn't sure about the hauntings, but upon entering the area, she immediately felt that it was a piece of concentrated chi. An archway? Didn't we hear about these stories? An archway haunted, concentrated chi. I know someone who mentioned that same arch. She's from the walled city. Crafty looks up on the notebook. I'd believe that. It's a fairly prominent landmark. Seems to me like most people from the walled city would have at least heard of it, if not seen it. What did she say? I can boil it down to creepy. Just a bunch of superstitious dribble about spirits. Boil it down to creepy. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there, at least from what my mother wrote. It was seriously bad. Go on. The chi wasn't like your standard run-of-the-mill energy, even for the walled city. This chi was exceptionally dark, and it all seemed to gravitate towards the arch. So she did what any cook of her magic brand would try, a Taoist exorcism. Did something explode? You could say that. The exorcism failed and something happened to her. She broke. My mother had entered the city strong, confident and capable, but when she left that day... It's hard to explain. It's as if the experience left her vulnerable to those base horrors within the walled city. She grew paranoid and became frail of mind and body. A mere shadow of her former self. It's as if she'd witnessed something and it changed her. She became more obsessed than ever, and that's how I remember her now, as that broken woman. I'm not sure how this fits into our investigation, but if that sort of malevolence was coursing through the walled city, it's no wonder the people who live there experience such terrible dreams. Alright, Yama Kings. Crafty turns to a page marked with a red sticky note. She looks up at you. Tell me, how much do you know about the Yama Kings? Only what I've heard here and there. Personally, I'd only heard about the Yama Kings in fables and myths. Things to scare children to sleep, to inspire awe. As you can guess, intimate knowledge about imaginary beings is largely non-existent, and here, she taps the page, we found the demons of the walled city. Through my mother's excursion into the slum, she came to learn that its residents had their own unique Yama Kings, different from the traditional ones. The people there are segregated from the rest of Hong Kong. Over time, they came to believe that their home was possessed by local demons. Makes sense considering the place's penchant for crime and disaster. Interesting. What were they like? There were three that Mom knew of. Lam Wei, Fu Mang, and Quinn Ya. Qian Ya. Chan? Each Yama King is associated with the negative energy on which they feed. Lam Wei feeds from cowards, Fu Mang from the guilty, and Qian Ya slaves. Unfortunately, my mother's handwriting declined with her sanity. She rubs her forehead in frustration. She has a lot of details in here about these local Yama Kings, but I can only make out bits and parts. There's a list, something here about her mouth twists sideways and her eyes squint, straining to read the notes. Rules? Maybe laws of some sort. The things that stood out to me is here. She plops a finger onto the page. It's about the propriety surrounding ownership in deals, exchanges, and negotiations. Luncheons? No, that last part can't be right. Maybe it is luncheons, because the dreams are all about eating people. Anyway, it says the Yama Kings, under rules or laws, must adhere to the terms of a deal. And there's something else, but she sighs and flips the paper onto the counter. Nope, sorry, can't read anything past that. Yama Kings must adhere to the terms of a deal. You know, it's strange to me that Mum found these mystical beings significant enough to mention in her documents. It makes me wonder if she thought they were real or connected to the curse that she believed in. A thump, and Crafty closes the notebook. She casually tosses it back onto the display case. It's not the best lead, but I think that's a step in the right direction. Oh, and then we just get kicked out of the conversation. Think you can send me a copy of those notes? Crafty taps her finger to her nose, already a step ahead of you. I just finished digitally transcribing the information. I'll send it your way. She looks around the book-covered shop. As soon as I find my terminal. Thanks, Crafty. You're welcome! Expect them soon. Let me see what you're selling. So I own that. Powerbolt 3. Right, Intelligence 3, Intelligence 4. But these are bad because they're cooldown 2, cooldown 3, cooldown 4. We don't want that. Single enemy for 18 damage. Like, it's not very good, right? You see how it? Fireball 2. Cooldown 4. It's pretty bad. Spell Focus Fireball 2. Radius increases, cooldown 4. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Flamethrower required Intelligence 3. Requires Intelligence 3, Intelligence 4. Glue cannot move but can still use AP to attack. Distraction, Stun Bolt. Heal Wound 2. Has a lower cooldown. Aim, lightning bolt, strip armor. I mean, I still just think like flamethrower is just the best. Like the lower the cooldown, the better off you are, right? Like a big ass fireball, but it's got full like a 4-turn cooldown. Fireball 2. I don't know. And it's 2 AP. Is the chain lightning is 1 AP. So I'm looking at like maybe the AoE stuff, but I wanted to have a lower AP as well because if you have a 2 AP AoE, it's not necessarily better than just firing 2 1 AP spells in a turn. You see what I mean? Or you have one spell that hits 2 targets, or you have just fire 2 spells. I mean this, maybe? But you'd only use this once per battle. Damage 13, AoE 3. Anyway, I need more intelligence. I need intelligence 3. And then I'll get flamethrower 3, and then I'll think about everything else. Imbued hermetic fetish. Alright, I can't really get anything from there.